Hey, Monica.
So today we're here. I know.
Today is the day.
Today is the day. We are doing our holiday biophilic book recommendations.
Yes.
And Jen, I think you've brought us three, and I have three plus a bonus
Yeah.
because I happen to be in Boston right now. And so I stumbled across an additional book.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Yep. I think it is. I think it is. And we're excited to sort of bring this to you. And we hope you like them. They're not what you typically would
Nature. Yeah.
yeah, they're not all nature based or biophilic design based, but Jen and I have been talking about how do we think even bigger. We've always thought that biophilia was more than design or placemaking.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's nature based, but it's people, it's animals, it's human centered, right? And so in this time that we have all found ourselves in, which is an interesting one,
Yes, it is.
we really feel like we all need to think about how do we build community or think about community now more than ever, that we need to figure out a way to come together. And so that's a little bit of how these books fall. Some they're all sort of nature involved, but thinking about how our
The bigger
nature,
picture. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, how we approach life is a little bit of it. We don't want to get too, we're not turning this into a wellness podcast. We're not turning this
No.
into a self help, but we really feel like as we head into 2025, and we might talk about some resolutions at the bottom here, I just think we need to reassess how
Mm-hmm.
we are engaging with the world.
I couldn't have said that better myself. So let's dive in. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
And so the first one is more of a traditional, what I think of a biophilic solutions book. It's called Restorative Cities, Urban Design for Mental Health and Well-Being. This is by a friend of the pod, Jenny Rowe. She's a professor and director of the Center for Design and Health in UVA, is a friend of our good friend Tim Beatley. And then another doctor, Dr. Layla McKay, who is I believe a psychiatrist or psychologist. She's at this Center for Urban Design and Mental Health. So she's coming from it from sort of a health perspective, and Jenny's coming at from it more of an architecture perspective. And so basically, imagine a city. We've all been to them. I'm sitting in one right now. And a lot of the challenge of them is they're overcrowded. We have noise and air pollution. Maybe we're taking long commutes in and out of them. Possibly we have lack of daylight. We're sitting in a big cubicle in a building, maybe less of us these days. And it takes a toll on our well being. And so you know, not to belabor the pandemic, but I think that really highlighted how important the spaces we are in can affect our mental health. So they basically put this book together that says, you'll hear blueprint a lot on this today. It's like a better design for our city. And
Mm-hmm.
so what are the strategies from like sensory architecture to creative and community placemaking, and so it's really for designers, planners, health practitioners, researchers, but sort of the everyday individual who just wants to think about making a healthier space for themselves.
That's such a
I
timely
really,
book, like really
yes,
timely, because everyone
yeah,
seems like they're interested in this realm of our immediate environments and how these spaces can make us well or unwell.
yeah. So I highly recommend that. That is my first book. A
Okay.
little nerdy, but I like nerdy.
Doesn't sound nerdy at all to me. So I'm just saying it sounds
That's
really
why
interesting. So
I
now I'm
love
going to have
you.
to get it. Exactly. Okay. So my first pick, I just finished this book around 2 weeks ago. It's called All the Beauty in the World, The Metropolitan Museum of Art and Me by Patrick Bringley. I
Ooh, I
found him
want that.
actually, yeah, you're going to love this. I found him actually on Instagram, and I don't even know how I found him on Instagram, but this is such a beautiful book and this is such a simple read, but his story, so he was a guard at the Met and he used to work at the New Yorker, and unfortunately his brother passed away, and he didn't want to go back to the hurried life because he felt like he wasn't ready for that after losing his
Yeah.
brother, and he just kind of felt like it was nonsensical and thought, I don't, it just didn't make sense for him to be in this really busy chaotic world of um, you know journalism at the moment. So he
Yeah.
said he found this great loophole known as being a guard, where he could actually stand still and work at the same time. And being a
Wow.
guard, so there are 400 guards at the Met, and he found himself in this like wonderment of beauty surrounding him from like thousands of years of beauty that he never really thought about before. And he said it was like one of the greatest opportunities and jobs of his lifetime because he was
Hmm.
surrounded by beauty every single day. And I think there are 2,000 employees at the museum. And
Wow.
like every day there's a new exploration, like a new thing that you'd see in a piece of art that you didn't see before. That's like, wow, why is that there? So it was always a sense of wonder and awe and engagement with your surroundings in a way that really kind of helps you unfold and learn about history in beautiful and meaningful ways. And like just it's just a really beautiful, simple book, but really helps you
Mm.
see the beauty in your day to day that you might not have thought about before. And yeah,
Well,
it's a lovely book. Lovely.
I love that. And slowing down, I think, is a big thing to think about. We're
Hmm.
so overwhelmed with information and the internet. And so this little hotel that I'm staying in, each room has a record player and there's a whole library. It's like a, I don't know, music themed hotel. And so every room has records in it and then there's a record library downstairs. And so I was
Fun.
playing them. And so to put a record
Mm,
onto it and hit go and I mean, if you skip forward, you got to go over and like lift up the little
yep.
record head
I
and
remember.
and so my son and his girlfriend were here and it was skipping and they're like, what is
Mm,
that? And I was like, oh, that's the record skipping. They're like, what? And I was like, that's that's what it sounds like when it kind of repeats itself. But there was intentionality in that I love, which I think same thing, like kind of getting out of our heads and doing something completely different to sort of re-see the world. I love that, Jen.
yeah, it's a really neat book.
Sort of in that world, my next book, which again, I think it's sort of, I don't know if it's slowing down, but rethinking is by David Brooks. It's his newest book, How to Know a Person. And let me see, I got to pull up the actual name of the full book. Please hold. How to Know a Person, The Art of Seeing Others Deeply and Being Seen Deeply. And so
Ooh,
it's basically his premise is that conversation and social skills are not innate traits that we're just born with. They really can be learned and improved upon. And I liked that because we need to listen to each other more, right? I think
yes.
I have been very curious the past month about what happened. What did I miss? And so I've been very curious about how people other than myself are seeing the world and trying to have empathy and think about that and understand why the world looks the way it does. And so he has really practical tips. Some you'll that are like every day you would be like, "Oh yeah, I've heard that." But he talks about loud listening,
Mm,
this that you can feel make other people feel valued and heard. And so it's again a blueprint to
like it.
feel and be more connected and have a more humane way of living. And so I just think it's a really important thing to think about,
Yeah.
that we just the outrage machine of the internet is not
My gosh.
helpful. And
Yes.
so that's sort of my other pick
Hmm.
again of how do we connect with each other, I think is a really important question.
Okay. I kind of love this flow because we do this every time without even trying.
I know we just picked him. We don't, yeah,
It's kind of funny that we do this every time. I guess we know each other very well because my book is very in line with what you're just saying about the slowdown because the book is called Slow Down. And it's really funny that you're saying this. So the book is called Slow Down by, I'm going to really butcher his name. He's Japanese. Koi Sato. It's Kohei. We'll put everything in the show notes, of course, but it's fascinating. It's Slow Down, the Degrowth Manifesto.
mm,
So, I mean, really, this book is all about how capitalism is really, 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 the harm is so bad that we're not even
yeah,
realizing because of our words that we're using to do the things that we've been doing are harming us even more. And the unawareness of our consequences is being pushed over because, like, let's buy something else. And like, everyone has a GDP value over their head.
yeah,
Like, how valuable are you to society? Because how much are you spending every day? So I'm
right,
not very valuable because I'm not shopping on Amazon. I'm not shopping online. I'm not shopping every day at all. I'm quite the opposite. And so it's a really fascinating read. And he goes into saying, that the whole green capitalist and the sustainable growth and the Green New Deal really don't really help, because the same people that are putting those in place are the ones that got us here in the first place. So we're kind
Yeah.
of, that doesn't help us at all. So that was, I never thought about that. Like the people that are initiating these initiatives are
Yeah.
the ones that have put us here. But he goes
Well,
into Marxism, and it's really it's a fascinating read for a modern city, really.
yeah, no, and we've been talking a lot about that in our household of, just the how easy it is. And sorry, Amazon, but we're going to shout you out. Like, it's just so easy to just
Hmm.
hit buy, and throw something
Yeah.
in your cart, and it shows up right there the next day or the same day. And again, how do we slow down, be
Hmm.
more considerate about our purchases?
Hmm.
And so we're really, yeah, we haven't used Amazon for a month. We're trying to just buy
Good for you.
directly from the
Hmm.
brand.
Smart.
It's fast. It takes a little bit. I even had one brand of my vitamins I went to go buy directly. Their e-commerce is Amazon. So I was like, I had to go
Darn
find
it.
like a Thrive market. I had to go find somewhere else. Have you watched, and I'd be curious, there's a documentary that's out right
Yes,
now.
I watched it.
I haven't seen it. The Shopping Conspiracy. Is that the one you're
Huh?
thinking of? Okay. So this is basically, wait, you tell us about it, because all I know is the line
It's
on.
just, it's a fascinating, like, you're just like, I was so enthralled with it because I think I try to be very intentional with what I buy, and I'm trying my best. But just to watch it and to learn and to listen to the people that are behind the levers at Amazon, at
Yeah.
Adidas, at these big brands, and the amount, like the Shen, like why do you have to buy Sheen or Shen?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
why do we have to buy such cheap? So it's just this draw for these young people to buy, like, oh, I'll buy it. It only costs $10 or $5. I'll throw it out in a month.
I
So it doesn't
know.
matter. But it's this whole lure of like, oh, it's only $5. Oh, it's only $10. Oh, it's only $2. It's fine. But it's such trash.
Well,
And we're
and the
just throwing
boxes
everything in.
they come in, everything. So
It's a
I don't know.
fascinating documentary. You have to watch it because you, of all people, I think will really appreciate it. Just be gobsmacked of like
I know.
how
By
bad.
now, A Shopping Conspiracy. So sorry,
That's
that was
it.
like that's a bonus book, not really a book, a Netflix.
Yeah.
But that book sounds really cool, and I do think we need to, again,
Slow down and take awareness.
we're just, I feel like we're just like running through the world, like throwing stuff around,
Hmm.
and we're like bulldozers, literally and
Yeah.
figuratively, and we're not thinking about what we're taking down in the process. So I like that one. Here's sort of a different way to spend your money, actually. So this, again,
Yeah.
not done on purpose. So my other book is called Infectious Generosity. It's by
Mm.
Chris Anderson, of TED Talk fame, and this is a book from this year. And he basically he calls this the ultimate idea worth spreading, which is the TED Talk tagline. And so he says, a defining value and impulse that is overlooked by humankind is how we can think about building a more hopeful future, which we're huge about,
Mm.
by giving, right? So
I like
again,
that.
outrage generating machine. We all hear that term about the internet. How can we use it for good? He talks about, he believes very optimistically that the internet can help us, right? And it's such a wonderful way, if you can harness it, to tell inspiring stories. He really believes, again, another blueprint or manifesto or playbook, whatever we want to call it, about how we can all embark on a journey of generosity. And he says, what if we um, gave away 10% of our income, or 2.5% of our wealth? I think I'm doing that correctly, every year. Now, obviously, I had a little bit of a challenge with this of if you don't make, if you're making 50 grand or 75 or maybe even 100, giving 10% away could be your
Hmm.
grocery bill, or,
Yeah.
your kids'
Yeah.
clothes. So I do think I challenge the question, but I do love the idea, and I always have, of choose something that you are really passionate about and give away enough that it feels a little painful to you. So instead of a percentage, think about what to you Like, what would you like to give? Is it $100? But you're like, I can do 100, but 150 starts, or 200 starts to be a
Yeah.
little bit scary. And so finding that sort of uncomfortable number to donate to somebody, and that it really brings you joy, and that
Yeah.
those are some of the most transformative experiences when you're giving away. So
Mm,
I just thought that was kind of beautiful. Obviously, the holidays too.
yeah. That's a
There's
great way of thinking about it.
so much gift giving and capitalism and stuff. Like, why don't we give away money rather than buying ourselves another whatever
Whatever.
random product that I
Exactly.
find that I'm being, shoved through on Instagram. So that is
That is your
that
book choice. Okay,
that's
I like it.
my third book choice. Yeah.
Okay, so my third is definitely different, and we're actually going back to nature because the other two weren't really nature specific, but this is The Philosophy of Walking by Frederick
Oh,
Gross, and it's beautiful, and it's really about, I mean, all these like stories about Thoreau and just really lovely ways how you think when you walk and different ways to think about your body and yourself and your mind when you're walking. And these are just great stories. They're just great stories. Gandhi and walking together and pilgrimages and the rebirth of yourself and the world when you walk. So these are great, just like stories to think about kind of when you get out for that walk or when you come back from a walk. What are you
yeah.
getting from it? So again, it's like this whole slowdown because we are in the holiday season, and how do we reflect on what we're doing? What are we spending? How are we spending our time? How are we taking care of ourselves with self-care
Mhm.
for a walk or something simple, and being reflective and the
Yeah.
slowdown, really the slowdown. So this is beautiful. I really love, this was a beautiful gift I received from a very dear friend. And yeah, it's a lovely book. I
I
highly recommend this one in the stocking.
I love that. And I kind of have a bonus book. I think I mentioned
Yes.
up top is, I'll show you a picture. It's a Georgia O'Keeffe. It's called O'Keeffe and More, and it's basically about Georgia, the American painter Georgia O'Keeffe. If
Hmm.
people don't know who that is, and Henry Moore was a sculptor. He was a UK sculptor, and this is interesting because the hotel that I'm staying at is like a 15-minute walk through a little park to the Museum of Fine Arts, Boston. And so I found
Mm,
myself here with a little bit of time before I was meeting my son up here, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to walk across the park and go to the museum. And there was this fabulous show. And what was interesting about it, that I mean, I was familiar with both of them, but they both really think about nature. They found art in nature,
mm,
inspired by, interesting dovetail, long walks, real careful observation. They
mm,
collected stones and shells and flint and flowers, and they looked at the land itself, and they sort of converted it into these abstractions. And
mm.
so they really loved form. And a lot of so anyway, there's a show that's only here through January 20th. So if anybody's in Boston, definitely go to it. It's phenomenal. And these two basically worked during the same time, but they didn't know each other. But they both had the natural world as inspiration and believed in the environment. And they worked in cities, but they
Mhm.
actually both ended up leaving, going to the countryside, and just would pick up a shell, turn it on its side, photograph it, paint it, draw it, sculpt
Beautiful.
it. I don't know. It was really cool. And again, I think it goes back to that slow looking,
Noticing, witnessing. Yeah.
and it feeds us, right? It can be very inspiring. And even to go to a museum show and stop and look at the art and really get up close, as much as the guard will let you,
Yeah.
to see the hand, the drawing,
Mm,
the sculpting. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of a fun, if you do have an art lover in that's a great gift, or
yeah.
try and go see the show. But just digging deeper into O'Keeffe and More was sort of beautiful.
What a great opportunity you got to be there during the
Yeah,
show and
you know
experience
me,
it.
I love art, and
I know.
I just looked it up and I was like, okay, what's going on? So one of the things that we thought we would just sort of throw out there is some sort of, I don't know if they're biophilic resolutions, but thinking about as we move into 2025, what are those things that we're, sort of thinking about? And I don't know, Jen, I'm looking for joy. So like
Yeah.
music and concerts. I want to go hear more live music. Just being together in a room all around
Yes.
this central theme or idea is so joyful. In fact,
Yep.
somebody sent me that people who go to concerts are happier or something. I don't know. I don't know. Can't qualify that, but I'm interested. Oops,
That makes
interested in
sense.
doing that. So that's one thing. I don't know.
I have
Go
a
to more
few because
concerts.
I'm
What do you think?
thinking
Yeah.
I don't so you and I thought we don't have resolutions, but I like the idea of more nature, like nature-based
Yeah.
biophilic solutions, resolutions, because I do this every year. I'm like, what do I want more of in my life in the next year? And it's never
Yes.
like I want to like lose weight, or it's more of I want more I want more friend time. I want more
Yep.
people in my life. I want more time with horses. I
Oh.
really
Okay,
miss
you got to get
being on
back
a
to
horse.
Sarenby. Okay.
I know. I just miss being on a horse, and I've really craved being around horses a lot, and I miss it because I grew up spending so much time around horses, and I haven't lately, and I've been really craving that sensation, that feeling yet of just petting the horse and cleaning a stall and riding.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want more time with animals this year. I want more time with friends. I want to learn more. I want more discovery. I want more exploration and travel. I kind of had to take this year off from really going anywhere until I just got back
Mm-hmm.
from Ireland. So Ireland just sparked a little ding.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get back out there and travel again since I had to kind of stop this year. So I'm looking forward to more of that the
Yeah,
next year.
I heard in our book theme here. So I'm the same way.
Hmm.
Like I want to find more laughter. I want to go to hear
Yes.
music on a wellness way, like taking care of yourself. I've got a couple people we're going to do dry January if you want to join us virtually. I think that'll be lovely to sort
Yeah.
of kick off the new year. But the other thing that I'm sort of contemplating. So let me share this with you and our listeners, and maybe you can let us know what you think about it. I heard somebody, I think it was like a literary writer, they're doing 50 books over the next 50 months, right? And so, what books would we read over the 50 months? Now, this individual was going to do the classics, and they were starting with Grapes of Wrath, which I thought was sort of
Hmm.
compelling. And I
Yeah.
started thinking, could I get a group of people together and we could do like a book club and, again, creating community. And then, of course, you know me, I'm like, could we do it for the podcast? And so I started writing down like, okay, what would it be? It would be like books that help us make sense of the world.
Hmm.
Again, now more than ever, we really need community and nature and connectedness. But I do think what you said, curiosity is so important. And so, could we, very ambitious, our producer will be like, oh my God, you guys, is what if each month, Katrina will be like, each month we bring you a new quote unquote biophilic book. Again, it's not just about putting plants in your house. It's not about green design all
Hmm.
the time. Those are great things. We will find, but what if it's, books about community, nature, connectedness, society, urban planning, placemaking, but all providing hope, understanding, solutions to better our worlds, our local cities, the larger
Hmm.
city, our local community, then the planet. What does that look like? And I don't know if we could do it, but I thought, well, what if we could discuss it at the beginning of the month, and
Hmm.
at the end of the month, maybe we could get the author on. There's the ambition. Or we just sort of do some
Talk about it.
listener,
Yeah.
get some listener thoughts.
It's
Anyway, so I
something we
don't
can
know.
think about for 2025.
I
Let's
know.
just
And I'm
put
like,
that in our little
yeah,
bonnet for
but
now.
maybe we'll just do it ourselves and we'll
Yes.
just share some books that we continue to find on our journey. I don't know how much pressure I'm ready for,
I know a book every month for 50 months.
but it's right. But it would be great if we think about it.
It
In four
would be
years,
great.
we read a book every month and got off
I,
the machine
yeah.
and
I
read.
mean,
I know some
I'm all
people
for
read
it.
it on their machines, but
Yeah.
I like a hand. I like a book.
Me too.
Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Um, so I guess happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Monica. Happy holidays to all of our listeners. And as always, we thank you all so much for being a part of our biophilic journey and our movement. And we're so appreciative for your downloads and your listens and your shares and your 5-star reviews and everything you've been so generous in sharing with us this year and your feedback. So thank you for being a part of our family.
Yeah, and here's to pending 2025 and all the good things that are going to come from the podcast
Yes,
for
as
the
we lead
year.
with hope, as always.
That's right.
So, for a
That's
hopeful,
right.
beautiful,
Hope,
joyous new year.
connectedness, bringing people
Exactly.
together. Let's make it
Exactly.
happen, Jen.
All right, Monica. Happy New Year, too.
All right. See you later, Jen.
Bye.